Salisbury on Rockin' Manooch with Jimmy B on Fox Sports 910.
You can follow him on X and Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Joins us now on the Right to It guest line. All right, Sean, let's start with the most important stuff here. You now are at the same level as I am with a master's degree, so let's check that box off, which I think is cool. So welcome. Second, what I don't have that I would love to be able to do is be a mediator, which I heard you are in Texas. So I'm curious, what are you going to do with that? Are you going to start mediating the, NIL deals out of Texas, all the football players, these kids? How are you going to utilize this?
Business will be good there, Sean.
If they're smart, they'll let me do that. Yeah, man. When I was in my master's, I was also taking the courses to prepare. One of my professors is a phenomenal guy. And halfway through the semester, one of the semesters, he said, "You need to get into this mediation thing," because he owns a big mediation company, and they also have one called Red Zone Mediation in Texas, which is a focus on a lot of the sports, high school, college, any sports issue that goes along with family and CPS and, constraint, anything else that goes with it. And I said, okay, let me do it. And I tried to get the class 2 times before the one I just took and about 75% of it was done before this last week. And if you don't have enough people in the class, they can't do it because it's, 8 hours a day of role play in certain situations. And so 2 times the class had to get canceled. And then finally, it happened this time. We had a bunch of people in there, and it gives me the chance to mediate just about anything. There's one other class I'm going to take to be able to mediate CPS, Child Protective Services. But yeah, man, I can pretty much do anything in Texas. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But I know it's nice to have and something that I've learned a ton from, and how to, the hard thing is in certain cases to be able to not choose sides, right? I mean, you're not, I'm not judge and jury. I'm not there to place favorites and win a deal for somebody. A mediator's just that, try to come to an agreement the right way and the legal way and code of ethics and all that. So I love it, man. I may never use it, but I'm interested in it because somebody had asked for my resume already. So I'm looking forward to it. I'll keep it as a side thing. Let's put it that way.
Sean, I could see, I could picture you in the classroom. You're sitting up front row, right? You front seat, right? You're right there. You're sitting up straight, right? Is that you? Are you the guy right there in the front row?
You mean the teacher's pet on a regular basis?
Yeah. Bring the apple,
sure. Why not?
Maybe a bottle of tequila, whatever it takes.
Oh,
to get that.
Yeah. I ain't bringing nobody an apple now. Some bourbon and some good bourbon and a laugh. Yeah. I've been not an ass kisser, but I've been known to be the guy who raises his hand in class and answers all the questions. Yeah, why not?
I love it.
Sean, and one of the things that made me think about that with you coming on is the situation with this Sluka kid at UNLV is why wasn't all that addressed? The verbal offer or supposedly that was given. I thought that these NIL deals with the collective were in writing before the season started or as these guys transferred. Got the deal. Why so many loose ends? Now it's kind of a he said, she said scenario.
Yeah, and I couldn't mediate that one because I'd kick the kid out and give him an apple and a road map and say, get your ass to some other team for letting your teammates down. So I'd have to recuse myself. And I could not mediate that. I'm being serious because I've looked at this long and hard, and it is the he said, she said, but if it's not on a piece of paper and you've got grown adults grown adults are the worst. You can have 12-year-olds negotiate with each other and probably come out with a better answer than getting a bunch of adults in any business sitting around, arguing with each other. Here's my full take. If they did offer $100,000, so after taxes, it's going to be what, $65,000?
Sure.
You're willing as a quarterback, who by the way is averaging 106 yards passing a game and completing 42% of his passes in 3 games. They're 3-0, as if he's the only reason they're winning. Hell, you put those stats up, you're over there handing Gatorade to the backup quarterback when he comes and takes the job. But I digress. But for $100,000, I get it. I don't know his family situation. If they committed to the $100,000, then they should pay it. Not just committed, but I'm a handshake guy, but we no longer live by that anymore. So if it's not on paper and it wasn't, then it is the parents and he said, and the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. My gut tells me the dad would have quit on his team or the mom too, but I don't know the kid. But what bothers me, and I usually lean towards the side of an athlete in this, $100,000, you're willing for the rest of your life. The rest of your life. And like I said, I can make money. And that kid he went to Holy Cross, obviously a smart kid. and goes to UNLV. He's a fifth-year guy. I don't know anybody else that's going to come out with those numbers and say, hey, I'll give you $200,000 next year. But handle the business, compartmentalize. You hired an agent, let him and your family and the lawyers handle the business outside of the building. You go and argue with the collective, let them do their thing, and you do what you came there to do. Be a great teammate with some integrity and character. Let the business handle it. It's like an athlete that wants a new contract, but he doesn't walk on his team in game 3. I don't negotiate during the season. My agent will handle it. I'm here to play baseball or football or basketball. I mean, I understand player empowerment, but let's not go overboard. For this, you're willing in 20 years from now, when they're having their reunion at UNLV and you don't get to go, to realize that your teammates are going to look at you as a heel and a quitter and a coward the rest of your life. And if I was an opposing team or in NIL or looking for the transfer portal, knowing the story, regardless of the money, that he walked during the season on his teammates, if I had a coach who loved him, I'd say he's not playing for me. Mm-hmm. And I know that sounds harsh, but I hear people pay the man. Well, we don't know the act. If it was me, I'd have showed up. My teammates matter more to me than $65,000 after taxes, and I didn't come from a wealthy family because you know what? I made a commitment, live up to it. If you go 8 straight and win and go 8-0, and the numbers continue to rise, guess what? Then they give you $250,000. So there's ways to do this without I'm transferring, I'm redshirting. Good luck finding a great school that wants a guy like that. Because my coaching staff, if I coached him, you wouldn't be able to, that kid's not coming on a visit and I'm not signing it. Not good enough to quit on teammates. So I'm really bothered by that because all you got when all is said and done, you'll spend the money, the integrity and the character, and the fact that you got to look at your right guard who's busting his ass and doesn't have a dime from NIL and tell him, I'm quitting on you, we're 3-0. You're 3-0. It's not 12-0, it's 3-0. And you're averaging 106 yards passing a game. Now, bad character move. He's a coward now and he'll be a coward forever in my mind when it comes to being a teammate. Sure, he's a nice kid. Sure, his family's fine. But I don't subscribe to this. And I one bit, take care of the business away from your football teammates. They deserve your undivided attention. Moot point now.
Sean Salisbury here on Fox Sports 910. Very well said. Sean, moving on to the National Football League through the first 3 weeks, is September the new August? Because we're seeing some pretty bad football. I didn't play the game, but just being an armchair, GM, I'm seeing this as this has been some pretty bad football. Would you agree?
Yeah, Rock, 100%. By matter of fact, I can't say it any better. We're sitting in the same church and the same church pew. This is right around the time. That's why defenses are always ahead of offenses in football because you run to the ball carriers, stay aligned. We'll work on expanding our bandwidth. Offenses, all the formations and doing it all in timing and rhythm and offensive line and getting the run game going. So, yeah, but there's no doubt. And this isn't old head or, high boomer, old school. We don't do that anymore. Maybe you should. Because I can tell you this, we haven't seen worse offensive football overall there's individuals playing out of his friggin' mind. I mean, it's crazy. But the as a whole, the parts are better than the sum. It's bad football. It just is. And defenses are playing fine, but offenses, we're not getting big plays down the field for the most part. I mean, it's crazy. And yes, just 10 more days of training camp doesn't mean you got to put pads on, but to the learning curve and putting it in. You're exactly right. Right now, we should be starting. This should be like week 1, but you're exactly right. September and August, to me, they are simpatico and hand in hand, and you're getting sloppy football. It'll get better. Offenses will get better. You start to figure it out, but I haven't seen anything like this. And while I know the players, we're adding on to our career because we only have basically, 3 weeks of training camp, and you can't practice in pads 2 practices in a row. Just a simple part of hearing it and executing it with your teammates on the practice. Forget the extra preseason games. I'm talking about practice. Would help these teams. Yes, it's sloppy football for a reason. Injuries have something to do with it, but the biggest reason is you do not spend enough time with your team when training camp starts and ends. It is truly a country club. They're not hitting much. They go, people aren't, a lot of times they're staying at their houses now and then they're going to camp. They're not getting away or they're not staying in a hotel and building camaraderie. I would have hated training camp staying at my home. I would have. As much as I go see my family, that was part of the excitement of getting better and doing it all and team atmosphere. The players are just as athletic and good. The football's not as good, and the preciseness of it isn't as good as it was when Marino. It's just not. It's not, at least early on, because you spent more time with your teammates and studying because you had to.
Very well said.
Touche, Sean.
Sean, a professor, or I don't know, what
Mediator
doctor?
extraordinaire.
I mean, when did we get to call you doctor? Or you already got that, right? You got that too, right?
Doctor.
Not the doctor's not there yet. Simply call me what I prefer, just Daddy. That'll work.
Oh, really? You went there on AM radio. Wow. Okay. We'll leave you with that, Daddy.
You guys are out of your damn mind. I love you though. Great football weekend. Alabama beats Georgia at the house.
Oh, there it is.
You heard it from Sean Salisbury. Thank you, buddy, as always, man. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend. Appreciate you.
Unfiltered, uncensored Sean Salisbury there. He's brought you today by All City Towing. Join the team with the largest towing company in the state. They are hiring. All City Towing. They got tons of jobs like dispatchers, lot attendants, drivers, customer service. It's all there, and they have incredible benefits like a healthy 401k employer match, healthy benefits including an employer-paid life insurance, monthly fuel allowance. So if you're ready to take your career to the next level, visit them online, allcitytowing.com. That's All City Towing, where your future is on the move. Well, the remaining 7 members commit to the Mountain West Conference, plus the latest on New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft and his love for Tom Brady. That's next. Football at 50, Fox Sports 910.
Kick off football season with Rockin' Manooch.